dear humans, it's good to see you again. You know, for yokai, I am quite short. Not that I have an issue with that, of course. However, it is quite disheartening knowing there are various yokai much taller than I am. So that you may understand how I feel, I've decided to share 4 giant yokai with you this week. Number 1. Mikoshi Nudo. Imagine this. It's late at night and you're on a walk. You see a monk in the distance, taller than you are. As you try to gauge his height, you realize he's growing taller and taller at a rapid pace. And soon, he's grown so impossibly tall that you stumble and fall over on your back, unable to escape as it closes in on you and eats you. That, dear humans, is the Mikoshi Nudo. He grows along with the pace of your gaze, and as tall as your sight can reach. This yokai is particularly dangerous as you can easily escape either. It will crush you, or pierce you with branches if you ignore it or try to run away. Then, how do you escape the Mikoshi Nudo? Well, here are a few ways. First, you can maintain straight eye-to-eye contact and then move your gaze to its feet so that it doesn't grow, and yell that you figured out its trick. Second, you can bring out measuring tools. However, some people say that this only works on its relative, the Taka Nudo, which normally just scares humans instead of eating them. Third, if the Mikoshi Nudo is the creation of a shape-shifting yokai, such as a tanuki, a kitsune, a mujina, or other shape-shifting yokai, it will be carrying an item to store its real body. If you manage to snatch it, the transformation will break, and the yokai will be at your mercy. Number 2. Gasha Dokuro. You've probably seen this guy around. He's a giant skeleton, very hard to miss. Gasha Dokuro are formed from the bones of those who die without being given a proper funeral. These bones come from hundreds of people, so they normally form from dead soldiers who are left to rot in the battlefield, or victims of famine who die out in the wilderness. They start to bear grudges against the living, eventually giving birth to a Gasha Dokuro. Despite that size, the Gasha Dokuro possesses the ability to move without a sound. It can sneak up on humans this way. Once you're caught, you'll either be crushed in the palm of your hands, literally, or have your head bitten clean off. So, about them being very hard to miss. That was a lie. I'm sorry! Because of how powerful they are, not just in size but also in strength, the only way for them to die is if their grudges are extinguished. This can happen on its own over time. So, while a Gasha Dokuro still walks around, you best steer clear. Number 3. Daidarabochi. Have you ever wondered how mountains and lakes all over Japan came to be? Well, it's the work of the Daidarabochi, of course. Daidarabochi are giant yokai with bald heads, big eyes, long tongues, and black skin. They are so large that their movements literally shape the world. They can build and even pick up and move mountains. And when they walk, their footprints become lakes and ponds. Places that have been said to be created by the Daidarabochi are Mount Fuji, Lake Biwa, Daita and Daita Kubo Town, Daisa Hoshi Pond, Senba Lake, and Takabochi Plateau. Of course, there are much more, but we'll never get anywhere if I keep listing them out. The Daitarabochi has appeared in media such as Gegege no Kitaro and Hell Teacher Nube, among other things. In Hell Teacher Nube, the Daitarabochi is portrayed as a sort of god that helps Hosokawa save a bird family by moving the tower it built its nest on so that it wouldn't be demolished. Number 4. Akae. Pop quiz! How big do stingrays get? If you answered as big as an island, then you got it right. In fact, a stingray that big would be an akae, and it's common for them to be mistaken for islands. While akae normally rest on the ocean floor, they come up to the surface now and again to shake off the sand and rocks that have built up on their backs. This could cause great waves in the process. Even when it sinks back down, It can cause whirlpools sucking everything around it to the bottom of the sea. That's why they're a great danger to ships that come nearby. What would it be like to find yourself on an Akae's back, you ask? Well, there once was a ship that had to make a stop for repairs after a typhoon hit them. There, they found trees and bushes unlike anything they had ever seen before, all covered in algae. They also found saltwater rock pools all over the place, filled with all sorts of fish. In fact, the only water they found was salt water, so they couldn't drink from them. And since there were obviously nobody to be found, they couldn't make repairs either. Well, I feel bad just dumping my insecurities onto you, so here's a little rhyme to help you remember how to get away from the Mikoshi Nudo. When you see a giant monk stare it in the eye, then slowly look down to its nose and say its tricks will fly. Else it you can try measure, and it'll cower in fear, but only if it's attacked by Nudo, else it'll bite you in the rear. If it carries a lantern, then it's the beastly sort. Go ahead and snatch it and give it a good retort. That is how you stay safe from the Mikoshi Nudo. Now your throat won't be ripped out under the moon's glow. That's all we got for this week, dear humans. Don't forget to drink your milk, eat your veggies, and do your gym. Next week, I should have a tale ready for you. See you then, dear humans.